Zap, 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 pow, 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 bing, bang, boom. This is Smart Nonsense episode, I think, 38. I could have sworn I was keeping track and then I fell off. Maybe it's 39. We're really cranking through, but that's ambitious. I think it's 38. Belky, today we're talking about some pet peeves. Because let me tell you, I woke up this morning with a text that just got me typing away. Belky, that text came from you.
What did I say? Oh,
I
yeah.
woke up to your text. You got to fill us all in. What's going on?
No, you know what I woke up to? Here's what I woke up to. This happens about every other morning. I wake up. I'm all groggy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go downstairs about 6:50 in the morning. My mom comes up to me. She's been up for an hour, so she's like juiced up, coffee loaded, ready for the day. She says, "Henry, I just saw your newest video. I had a patient, my newest video is about fixing things on your own car." She says, "I had a patient whose son bought a sports car and was fixing the things himself, and he was under the car and the car fell on him and he died."
Oh my God.
Crazy, terrible, horrible thing. But mind you, I just woke up and this happens every other day where she has some one-off story from a patient of a patient or a friend of a friend of a friend. They're never good news. Never good news. So that a couple of days ago, same thing, 6:50 in the morning, she comes up to me. She says, "Henry, the world has ended last night. The world has ended." She said, "There's looting in Chicago. We're going on full shutdown, lockdown." I'm like, it's 6:50 in the morning. Like, what are you talking about? What are you watching at 5:30 in the morning? So here's the pet peeve, baby. Using, I don't know, just overconsumption of news.
It's
just
fucking news.
overconsumption of news.
Number one, we have 3 pet peeves. The first one is news, and I that's been one of my pet peeves for a while. But Belky, you're over the top because you do watch the news.
I am over the top. I was going to say the moon, but that means a good thing. I am blowing up. I'm done. Look, the only rebuttal I've ever heard for watching the news, reading the news is, quote, "I need to stay informed." That's all anybody says. That's what my parents say. That's what my friends' parents say. It's a, quote, good way to stay informed. No, it's not. No, it's not. I read like a 10-minute briefing in the morning. I do the New York Times crossword. Satiated. Perfectly fine. Ready to go on the day. Oh, you want to know another good one?
What do you mean? No, we're not listening.
No, we're staying on news. My sister gave me this quote once. She said, avid newsreader, but she gave me this quote. News consumer, I should say. She said, "Cats are happier than humans because cats don't have the newspaper." And I think at its most fundamental level, that could not be truer. There's no good news in there. There's nothing.
One thing you made me realize that I wasn't thinking about before is the same approach that I just texted you this morning with, I want to double down on this or 10x the content strategy we have.
Double down. You were 100-fold down.
1 a day to 100. But I think it's the same. That's just the ecosystem right now is just put out content. You need constant content 24/7. And there's not that much good news that's important for staying informed. You maybe need one thing a month of, oh, this is the summary that went on. Maybe once a week if you really can't get away from it. But I don't remember the last time I watched the news.
I know. I do. Wait, no, it wasn't you. We had a friend I remember when we were eating in a North Korean restaurant in China, and he just had no idea why that was like such an extraordinary thing.
That was kind of funny. That's the informed you need.
That's bad. I'm okay with a daily summary. It sounds like you want less often. Actually, so that's not true. I read a 5-minute briefing, and then I usually listen to the daily. But now I'm selective with the daily. So the daily is the New York Times podcast each day. A freaking production feat, like to get what they get out every single day. It's unbelievable. I am selective and like, I will not listen to all the coronavirus episodes. It's every other day. It's the same thing. I can't. What do you think Kara Swisher would say about this? We should link her because she's a journalist. Sorry, this is like out of left field. But there was a quote in the episode you sent me when she was so upset that like these left wingers kept getting so fed up with the things Trump was saying and doing every single day. And it's like, she's like, okay, like you're the fool. You take the bait every single time. Like you're triggered every single time he says something like that.
Right. That's actually okay. So I started Brown. I got very liberal, and then I started going back towards the right, or it's not even towards the right. It's just like I
Right
got
word. You went right word.
Yeah, and I respect people the most, like Scott Adams, for example, or Kara Swisher in this case, where they're liberals objectively, but they recognize the feat that Trump has done in that he captures everyone's attention, makes people think that what he's saying is important and worthy of getting them triggered or getting them emotional. Like it's such a waste of energy. And my aunt listens to these now, so maybe she'll hear this, but she gets really concerned, and I think a lot of it's fair. Like you should be concerned about world events, but ultimately, I only concern myself with stuff that's under my control. If you have a job that's like trading stocks day to day or something, or you need to be up to date with the current events, I get that. Have a little bullet point summary, whatever. But if you're gonna get fed up about some, I don't want to trivialize too much stuff, but like say on the news there was a fire and this mom had to whatever drop her kid and she died in the fire and the kid was saved. Like I don't need that. I don't need
Yeah.
that in my life.
Yeah.
That's not going to change any decision that I make today. So I just cut that out.
It's only going to make you live in fear, I think,
Right.
or more in fear. And we say, right, my grandpa, who's been a local news watcher for 35 years, like doesn't leave the house. It has, what's the word? Atrophied his brain. Like it has taken total control of him. A life lived in fear is a life half lived, right? And all these news, largely, especially local news, is stoking fear.
Can I say, and you've probably heard this more than anyone because I think you travel the most out of all of us, but for people at home that are like, be careful when you're traveling. There are a lot of looters and just bad people out in the world. And you get there, and it's like, it's safer than my hometown.
Yeah.
Like,
no, even more interesting is when I go abroad, they're getting their mainstream media news, and they're like, "Oh, Chicago, oh, highest murder rate in the country. Oh, is it safe to walk outside there?" I'm like, yes, right. Like it's like any other major city, but if you're consuming that kind of news, and by the way, like gun violence is an issue here, but if you're consuming that kind of news, it goes from this issue that's like rather small but also important to this thing that seems like it's all encompassing, like the city is just freaking Gotham. And it's like any other major city. You don't go to a place you shouldn't be at 3 a.m. Doing stupid things, and then you're fine.
my approach has been one to just cut that stuff out as much as possible. I know I'm being a free rider with a lot of this stuff, and I don't advocate being as much. Like I would prefer people are like Henry, kind of overall like this is the trend of the country, especially if you have, I don't know, reasons to invest or whatever kind of reasons you might care about that. But my approach is cut it out entirely. I don't even know. I just learned like Biden is the top candidate or something.
All right, you're a little okay.
I'm really far behind.
You could maybe use a little bit more then.
A little bit more, but honestly, what's happened? It just sounds like I'm uninformed, and I'm fine with sounding uninformed. I actually like it because then when I ask people, "Hey, I'm really not that informed. Like, could you fill me in? Like, bring me up to date?" And they love to just unleash all the stuff in their head, but they give me the good summary, the big picture, and I'm like, "All right, well, thanks." And if you do that once a week, you just have your little your friend date. Like, say Henry reads the news every single day. We'll just have a podcast once a week. Henry, what'd you learn in the news?
I didn't know you need to know more about the vice president pick and Biden's nomination. That's it's important to the counter argument to that is, well, there's obviously a group of people like in the nation that Joe Biden as a vice president and Kamala Harris as his vice, like
just learn that.
Oh my word. Okay. Kamala Harris is his vice president pick. And okay, you need a little bit more. But there is a group of people that like directly affects. And you're lucky in a lot of senses that not a care in the world if Joe Biden's vice president. Not
what am
a
I
care
gonna?
in the
Here's
world.
my question though. What am I gonna do about it between now and election time? Probably nothing. What
Would
if I
you
just
vote?
learned everything 3 days
Yeah,
before
that's fine.
election?
Like, have you voted historically?
Yeah. Yeah. So if I take the assumption that I can go maybe once a quarter, I get the news. And then if there's an election period, I'll take 3 days to really get informed. I think that's enough. You don't need the constant updates. Same thing with my AP US history class. I didn't read the book for the second semester. I just crammed right before, and I got a better score than everyone in my class.
Should we as a country just cram for like?
Well, that's kind of cool. It's like AP US history. It's just US election crams.
Yeah,
Why
the
not,
5 days before the election.
I don't know. I feel like that should be the way to do it. Unless
I don't
just
know.
Why do you need to?
This is more about politics than it is about the pet peeve of like local news. I'm also like, we've talked about politics, status games. Like, I'm a firm believer that the majority of things that get done that change a nation happen in, private practices. That's the Teslas, the Googles, the whatever. I'd much rather do that than spend a lifetime working towards a role as a politician. That's a personal preference. But I think my big pet peeve is local news, especially because there's just no upside. And I think there are many other ways to, quote, stay informed. I think there are also many
arguably, though,
better bipartisan ways to stay informed.
Here's the counter argument with local news. That's more what's happening in your town and you're just local area. So you can have an impact on that. To say it's like,
Okay.
oh, the church needs funding or whatever. Now you're informed about that. That's something that you can take control of and actually implement change versus something nationally. What do I care if something in Florida doesn't have enough funding? Like, that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I think I'm using local news as just kind of like that entire channel of news. Not local in the sense that like this church needs funding that's 2 blocks away. There he is.
Not making sense out there.
And yeah, they are appealing to our instincts of fear, right? And when you promote that, because we've what's the word? Evolutionized. Because we've evolved. There it is. Because we've evolved to be
I couldn't even revolutionize. I was like trying to figure
because
out.
we've evolved to. I mean, we are pessimists by nature, right? Like, there's a predator like around the corner. Like, the pessimist says, "Well, we should go the other way." Like, that's human nature. And so you can't help but tune in and watch to try and learn all the problems. I think about the world. It's so human naturistic that you have to tune in. And I think once you start, then you can't stop.
John Krasinski's Some Good News.
Yeah, you want a hot take?
Yeah.
First of all, is it still happening? Second of all, I don't think it's going to last more than 6 months. That's not what people want. That was what people wanted in March. But actually, and I had the idea to create a good news platform like 2 years ago. I don't know it's written down somewhere, but why do you bring up Some Good News? Because I don't think it'll last.
I thought that's the counter to all the pessimism. Like, here's the good news, but you let the market prove what they want. And human nature, we've evolved.
Well, let's see if he's
maybe it's getting views. I haven't seen it since March or whatever it released.
I'm going to see if he's still making them. It's remember too that it's the polarizing stuff. Yeah, he hasn't made one in 2 months. So he was making one. No, my goodness, he was making 7 a month. That's like one every 3 to 5 days, and he hasn't made one in 2 months. So what do we take from that?
You have to make your production frictionless. You cannot consistently
2.6 million subscribers.
That's not bad. I always forget.
13 million views.
Can you hear these lawnmowers and stuff going in the
A
background?
little bit, just a tiny bit. Okay, but I don't think people are going to tune in for good news. And if you're not going to tune in for good news, my solution is no news.
I didn't think that's where you're going, but no news, Belky. There he is.
No,
Except
not
he
no
consumes
news.
news.
Limited, very, very limited news.
All
What else do you got?
Here's my second pet peeve. So news number 1, I cut that shit out. Number 2, I cut out GIFs. Fuck GIFs.
Oh, yeah.
Not like GIFs like the what are we gonna call those? Like
GIF.
emoticon type moving shit. Yeah.
No, see, we disagree here. This is good.
GIFs are, I don't know where they came from, but they have got to go. It's absurd. Who the fuck? If I get a gift card one more time for a movie theater that isn't even in my town, what's going on here? It makes no sense. I'll get gift cards, and then they even have websites too. It's like trading your gift card for 70% of the value. And I'm like, just give me the fucking cash. Like I've always said that since I was young.
King, but
like
cash
if you're gonna give me a gift,
cash would be a gift. Are you saying physical, tangible gifts that like cannot be altered?
I'm saying anything physical. Like give me money if you want.
But you like to gift experiences.
That's my only gift, experiences.
Okay. Which I agree with.
But even buying jewelry, or I don't know, what comes to mind is Ice and his roommate Nirvan. Sophomore year, they bought him a $500 golden champagne opener gun, whatever. I don't even know what it was, but I don't think he's used that thing ever. It's probably in his basement.
Yeah.
Like that stuff is stupid. $500, you could have gone on a trip. You could have, I don't know,
gone to China.
Yeah, literally China. You could have flown to China and back. That's insane.
I'm with you on that one. I think, gifting clothes. I mean, yeah. Okay. So there's this thing. It's a formality, right? Like every holiday, every birthday comes around, my mom says, "What do you want?" For the last 15 years has been, "I don't want anything." And I mean that. I'm not trying to like be, humble. Like I don't want anything. I don't need anything. The things I want and need, I buy for myself, which is few things. And she's like, "No, you have to open something." Like, what? Can my gift be I don't want a gift? But
it's like a giant FU in the box. Like.
I do think I want to say like gifts that make sense are important. But like, what does make sense?
The one argument, aside from experiences, is if you know something. For example, I sent you a gift.
Yes.
I sent you
sent me a book
that I like.
That made my day.
And that's whatever. It cost $10 or something. I'm like, oh, this is a book. Henry might read it on his own, but I want to make sure he reads it because it's pretty cool. So I'll just send you a book. But it's not like, oh, today's your birthday, I got to think of a gift. Here it is. It's like, oh, here's something. I have this knowledge that I don't think Henry knows about. Like if I were to gift you.
I think that's our solution then. More random gifting. More random intentional gifting. I like that a lot.
Because I hate the pressure of, maybe it's good to like predict seasons when stuff's going to sell if you're a business, but like I hate just, it's a mad scramble. I forgot to get mom a gift. Do we just go to the jewelry store and pick something off the shelf that's like $30? That's not too cheap, but also not too expensive.
That in our household for my mom's birthday last week, my dad's birthday a month or two ago, it's been AirPods. Can't go wrong.
Dude, that's the thing.
That was a gift for me.
We knew that AirPods back in college, that was for you, right? Or was it for Ice? No. First,
he gifted them for himself, gifted them to me, and then everyone got them.
Right, because it's like you don't know what you're missing. If you don't know what you're missing, then a gift is warranted.
That's been one of the few that I think has led to gifting to another person. It's so useful. But yeah, I like the idea of more intentional, random gifting.
Dude, that's what I like too, because when I sent out like a thank you card that wasn't on Thanksgiving, it's just like that's so random, out of the blue, just spontaneous seemingly. I think that's awesome. So I want to. Yeah, I'm glad. Sometimes it's productive what we come to. I didn't realize that was like, I'm not against gifts. I'm just against forced gifts.
Nick Offerman in his book, Build a Canoe or something, just about like his life. he was big into kind of like you, like the gift buying, like buying Hallmark cards from the store.
Oh,
He's okay with gifting, but he's like, just make it yourself. Like, make something. Write a
yeah, I
card
make
on
all
a
my
piece
own
of
cards.
wood.
I
Like,
don't remember the last
yeah,
time I bought a card from
yeah,
CVS.
yeah.
Literally draw
That
'em.
stuff goes way further. Or make an event, yeah, make an experience. So, okay, experience is okay to gift. Great to gift, really. You can't put a price on time spent with someone you're
That's
close
your
to.
priceless thing.
Exactly. That is a priceless gift. And more random intention. Like you said, you sent me a $10 book out of the blue. Wasn't my birthday. It wasn't the holiday season, and it made my day.
Well, that's what Tim Ferriss has this question, and I want to start using it more, but I don't think we're old enough to do it yet. Is what 1 to 3 books do you gift most?
Mm.
And it's super easy to think of because he used to ask, "Oh, what's your favorite book?" And it's hard to go back in your mind and think, "Oh, what's my favorite book?" There's so many. You'll probably just pick the most recent good one. But it's like, which one do I gift most? Well, I know The Adventures of Johnny Bunko was one I just gifted. It's very easy to recall that.
That's a great
So,
book. You should link it as a good gift.
hey, there you go.
Um,
It's why I like that while we're on the topic. It's so short, but it has all the nuggets, like the key principles to what we're preaching or what we're our
Not even.
ideals are.
I think what was so cool about it is it wasn't so polar in what we're preaching. It was like,
You
you're
can't really
actually
argue it.
right. You're actually in the 9 to 5 job. Here's how not to be just like bored out of your mind in that entry level position forever. Like, here are the things you can do to have a bigger purpose at the company you're at. That's what
If
was so cool about it.
anyone listening right now, this could get dangerous if a
This
lot
could
of
get,
people
I
listen
know.
online.
I was
The
thinking,
first person listening that emails me,
there you go.
I will send you a book of this. I want to try this experiment where I'll send you a book. I'll put my name and the date on it, but you have to read the book and then gift it to someone else. And I want to see how far that book makes it. They used to have dollar bills, I think, or something like that, where you could track.
You could track it on the
where it's spent.
website.
That shit was so cool. So I want to do the same with this book.
Okay.
It's just it's a cool, easy
So the
read.
first person to email you at Dylan at smartnonsense.com is getting the book, and better read it and gift it.
And my signature, that's worth a lot. Copy that on the checks that I don't even know how to write.
There he is.
All right, Belky, this is number 3. I put the pressure on you. Did you think of something?
Yeah. Well, you told me I couldn't put it together. So my big one is cynics or pessimists, but let me elaborate on that, because I'm pessimistic at times too, like everyone is. I said it's human nature before. It's cynics and pessimists that offer no solutions. So if I'm shooting down an idea, which I don't like to do, but sometimes it happens, the first words you're going to hear out of my mouth after I take some aspect out of your idea or whatever is, okay, but how can we use this? How can we something? And sometimes it drives Athena mad because she's like, you're too problem solution oriented.
Can you give
like,
an example what that would look like? So say, all right, so I don't know if it's too specific, but say that Instagram. So today we dropped what I thought was a dope Instagram post. Yeah. Like, you had one piece of feedback. What would you do there for that post? I guess it's hard to reference, but
I didn't think I was that pessimistic about that.
Oh, okay. So what is in your head then? Use any example that comes to mind.
You're like, Henry, oh man, I don't know. I think, okay, you texted me, you're like, Henry, we need to get 100 pieces of content out the door per day. I think that's a great idea, but let me play devil's advocate here. So if I want to be pessimistic about that and I want to shoot that down, I'm gonna be like, first of all, I'm going to ask a bunch of calibrated questions. I'm going to try and figure out, like, well, why? And then
link back to what's that book called? Never Split the Difference.
Never Split the Difference.
Whatever episode.
Just to, like, I'm not going to sit here and say, no, Dylan, that's a terrible idea before I have like a firm understanding of why you want to do that. But if I'm
real quick,
sorry,
spontaneous thought. But that's part of the problem with, like, we're preaching all this big thinking and our ambitions for Smart Nonsense and for your own projects when we get to them in the future, Henry. Like, our ideas are so grand that it's easy to be a pessimist and shoot bullets, holes in all of our ideas.
There's another great book, The Magic of Thinking Big. Yeah. I don't know if you
Big
ever
thinking,
finished it.
thinking big.
The magic of thinking big. Magic of big thinking. No, I think it's the magic of thinking big. Wow, there's construction going on now. It's like he actually talks about the difference between optimists, I think pessimists, lazy pessimist. Like there's like 4 different combinations. But anyway, so if I wanted to shoot that down, I would be like, um, so again, you say I want to create an automated machine that gets 100 pieces of content out the door every single day. Like I would go, 100 pieces of content. Like how can we take that automated machine and like route it this way? It's a terrible example, but
What does route it this way mean?
I'm saying like how can we take this good piece, the good thing you said, the automated machine, and like drive it in this other direction, as opposed to no, that's a stupid idea. Why would we ever do that? Which a lot of people do. A lot of people do.
I think fair feedback there, because I think there are a lot of holes in that. You could say, oh, 100 pieces of content. Well, is it quality content, or are we just going to be putting out shit?
Yeah.
And then offer a solution. Be like, well, maybe so that it's not all crap, we have just a stock template and a couple rules for producing content. Just rules to mitigate just doing harm to the brand or
Yeah.
putting out complete
This
trash.
is also like you could call it positive feedback, which I'm really into. And it's basically like if you're gonna break someone down, if you're gonna crush their dreams, whatever, you better build them up higher than you broke them down. That and I teased it a while back. The compliment sandwich, right? Like compliment something, to think the problem's in the middle of that sandwich, and then wrap up with what you're saying with a compliment. But yeah, I think what I'm trying to get at here is offering positive feedback. There's a lot of people I'm close to, a lot of close friends, family members that the default is just no, 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 and there's no solution. There's no problem solving. There's no positive feedback. Um, I think it's harmful. I think it's harmful. I think it gets at a lot of the reasons why we're trying to figure out like why people do the things they do, even when they hate them. I think that gets into a lot of it.
With feedback, we were struggling with this, and you can probably hear it in the earlier podcast when we started getting feedback from our friends, from just random people listening of, hey, I think this is awesome. I do have this issue with this podcast. And generally, the conclusion I came to, and I think it makes sense, is offer feedback, especially negative feedback. We want to hear it, but only if it's going to be something that's repeated. So if it one off, we swear, and it's just like it sounds gross, and you're like, why'd you say that? That's don't comment on that. But if I'm every episode swearing, that makes sense. Like, tell me. I've heard I say whatever a lot, and okay,
Fixed it.
fixed, because that's going to happen in every single episode unless I fix it.
Yeah,
So
I guess that's kind of why. Like, so you sent me, or I checked out the thing on Instagram, and it's got this glaring problem, which is the video and the audio are terribly synced up. And I realize like that's a one-off thing. I know you know that's a problem, so I'm not gonna go pounding down your door over text or whatever to say like this is terrible. No, like how could you ever put something out like that? It reflects so poorly. Like, no, like
I'm at the point where I don't want feedback that's going to make a marginal improvement.
mm-hmm.
And it's arguable where the line is, but marginal improvement get in the way of producing, creating.
Exactly.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Because I watched the clip ahead of time, and I guess I could have done it back and forth. I'm fine. I was just like, it's close enough. I like the intro so much. I just want to get this piece out. And then you move on. And I think people are so in the perfectionist mindset that they would double their production time just to make sure it doesn't have any mistake.
Right.
And then half the people only watch the first 15 seconds. Half the people just read the subtitles. I don't think it adds up, and it's worth blowing or like.
Yeah. To get to that marginal point. So a friend texted me bringing up that he just, in my workshop Wednesday videos, he just didn't think there was enough movement. Like you were saying, like I personally think when I put them out, like he was like, I'm getting bored. And to me, that's not marginal at all. So he texts me, he's like, okay, I didn't want to come off as rude or something, just trying to provide feedback. I'm like, that's the perfect piece of feedback. I need to know that early on so that I can tweak. And I was like, I hope you tune in this week because the movement is a whole lot different. I think it's a lot more engaging, but you'll need to tell me.
That's what I send to anyone on the team is, hey, again, feedback that's going to be repetitive, let us know. But always, you can only offer negative feedback if there's a solution.
If there's a solution And like I said before, if you're going to break someone down, you better build them up higher together.
There's who's the hedge fund, the largest hedge fund? He's radically honest.
BlackRock.
No. Bridgewater Associate. Who the hell runs Bridgewater? Sorry. The culture there is radical honesty. They have a term for it. Maybe it's not that, but it's super open. Like they'll have someone new to the company come and tell the CEO, whoever runs it, like, hey, your presentation was like a 4 out of 10, but this is how you could improve it. And it's just that kind of culture where you can just join the company and tell the leader at the top of whatever, thousands of people that he messed up. I think that's amazing. And I want to cultivate more of that. Bridgewater Associates. It's going to bug me.
Okay, you're going to figure out who runs that. That's really cool culture.
Ray Dalio.
I know Ray Dalio. I know it's baked into the culture you're starting with your crew and your content crew, which is super cool. Let's wrap up here. Again, those big 3 pet peeves. Also, like, I don't like when people make pet peeves do or die. It's like with grammar, your pet peeves.
Oh, that could have gone.
In a similar vein, like it's too much energy for you to care how many times someone says anyways, or
Yeah, I just take note of the red flag and I'm like, all right, Belky's dumb because he says anyways.
Limit your news intake. You don't have to get rid of it entirely. I'm once a day. Dylan, maybe a little bit more.
Once a year.
Well, we are. Yeah.
I do want to say before you do the final call, those are our pet peeves. Again, let me know if you want this book. First one's getting it. Tomorrow, I'm talking to Avatar. We're going to get into potential. I have a counter pitch for him.
Okay.
And we'll get into that because
I won't be
We
here.
want to create a system. Belky's not going to be here because he's off gallivanting in the woods again. Can I have a bee sting in the middle of his forehead again? Anything else before we sign off?
No, I just wanted to say, limit your news. Give more random intentional gifts. And if you're going to tear someone down, you better come and help them with a solution. Those are 3 things that are easy to fix.
There you go. Learning lessons. We're actually teaching things now, I think. All right, Belky. Have fun in the woods.
Oh, I unplugged you. What'd you say?
I said have fun in the woods. God damn it.
Thank you so much. See you next week.